Richard Hayden?
Tommy.
So where's my dad? I thought he was going to meet me at the airport.
He was at the airport this morning, but you weren't on the plane.
He said he had a surprise for me.
Maybe. I guess you should have called.
I did call earlier when using the phone.
Earlier, when was that?
Or later when then I left a message.
A message? What number did you call?
2, 4, 9er, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I can't hear you. You're trailing off. And did I catch a niner in there? Were you calling from a walkie-talkie?
No, it was cordless.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Don't. Not here. Not now.
Welcome to the Make Movies Great Again podcast, the only show in the universe with the sole mission of destroying cynicism at the box office. Here are your hosts, Matt, Adam, and Sean.
Welcome to the Make Movies Great Again podcast. My name is Matt, and here with me is Adam.
Hey, everyone.
On today's show, we have trailers of the week, movie news, including an exciting addition to the new Terminator, what makes a trilogy, a little wrap-up of what we've been watching, and we wish the Princess Bride a very happy 30th birthday. You can chat with us on Twitter, @MakeMoviesGreat, toss us a like on Facebook, @MakeMoviesGreat, and like all of our pictures on Instagram, @MakeMoviesGreat. Don't forget, this podcast is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and YouTube. What's going on, Adam?
Not much, Matt.
What's new? So you over the weekend? What?
Yeah, I watched a couple new things over the weekend. I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Cool.
We had to push the podcast back a day, but it just allowed me for some room to catch up on my comics and catch up on my shows.
Yeah, honestly, I think it was better that we waited a day because there was a couple other little great news segments that we added in last second today. So. We didn't want to get screwed on the Monday.
And a trailer, right?
And a trailer, yeah, and a very exciting trailer. So let's get right into it. So, Movie Club this week. This week's pick for Movie Club was Cloud Atlas. So we're going to talk about that right after this episode. So if you're listening to this episode, most likely that episode is also loaded up. So go right over to there and check it out. And then next week we're going to be watching Lost City of Z. Starring Charlie Hunnam. Who else is in it, Adam?
Charlie Hunnam, Robert Pattinson, Sienna Miller, Tom Holland. So a pretty stacked cast. The synopsis is a true-life drama centering on British explorer Colonel Percival Fawcett, who disappeared while searching for a mysterious city in the Amazon in the 1920s. The director and it's based on a book by David Gran. Director and writer James Gray, who also happens to be the director of one of my favorite, if not my favorite movie, We Own the Night. So I've been really excited to see this.
Nice, awesome, that's great. So Lost City of Z, it's on Amazon Prime. Check it out. Again, we usually like to pick Netflix, but Amazon Prime's not too far off from Netflix. So just find a way to watch it. Get creative. Trailers of the week. We got three. We got three legitimate ones. One that we talked about before, but two others that are brand new. First up, Isle of Dogs. It's Wes Anderson's new movie. So this is done in the style of Fantastic Mr. Fox, and not to be monotonous, but it's fantastic. It looks awesome.
Yeah, I've actually never. I think I was trying to think of like what Wes Anderson movies I've seen, and the only one I've seen is Moonrise Kingdom, which I love.
Which is a great one.
I love that movie.
Moonrise Kingdom is my favorite.
I gotta watch the other ones. I'm sorry?
Moonrise Kingdom is my favorite. It's my favorite Wes Anderson movie. Yeah.
That's reassuring.
Yes.
But so I feel like I gotta watch some other ones too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm interested in Isle of Dogs. Depending on what else comes out at the time, I'm not sure if it's one I'll see in theaters, but it's definitely one I plan on seeing. I'm going to convince myself that my dog, Chase, has the voice of Jeff Goldblum.
That's not a bad dog voice to have. If your dog's going to have a voice, Jeff Goldblum's not bad. That's one of my favorite parts about a Wes Anderson movie is the cast that comes along with it. Like, it's known, like... Yeah. For his first movie, Bottle Rocket, starred the Wilson brothers. Luke and Owen. Before they were big stars, but... You know what I mean? Like, you get on with those guys, and then they become huge stars, and then, like, along the way, everybody and their brother has been in these movies, like Harvey Keitel. I mean, you get guys that just, like, want to come along. Jeff Goldblum. So
Bill Murray is like Bill Murray is a fixture of a Wes Anderson movie.
Frances McDormand, like, people like that. So when you get people like that, and then you do a movie like this where it's not animated, it's basically stop motion puppets. And, you know, it's a lot easier on big actors' schedules to come in and record a few lines for a movie like this. You really get a star-studded cast. So that's what you get with Isle of Dogs. You get a really creative, there's no mistaking a Wes Anderson movie, whether it's real people
Absolutely not.
Yeah, whether it's real people or it's puppets like this. There's no mistaking a Wes Anderson movie. So this is what you're getting. You're getting another great Wes Anderson movie, which I'm very excited. You're right, though. Wes Anderson movies, as far as for me, like, they don't beg to be seen in theaters. I think I've only seen, like, maybe Grand Budapest Hotel, like, in theaters. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing I think I've seen of his in theaters. Everything comes after.
Right. He is the definition of, like, a cult following.
Oh, yeah.
Maker. Yeah. And he's very successful. I mean, I can't off the top of my head, I can't think of how many awards he's won, but I know he's won awards.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's very decorated, and from what I've heard, he's a very interesting guy, very strange guy. He filmed some he filmed some scenes from Moonrise Kingdom at a camp I used to go to when I was a kid for Boy Scouts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and like a lot of the scenes in the movie I can recognize from that camp, Yagu. And I talked with some people that were working down there when he was down there filming, and they were saying he's kind of an odd cat, which makes total sense. I mean, he's a genius, and a lot of times.
I wouldn't expect him to be a normal guy.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Up next for trailers, we got Downsizing, and this is a proper trailer. So we got the teaser a couple weeks ago. This is the Matt Damon, Christoph Waltz, Kristen Wiig, I believe, is also in it.
Yep. Jason Sudeikis.
Yes, Jason Sudeikis. It's about they downsize and they live in like this tiny world where like their money converts into like millions of dollars and everything is like great and better and whatever.
They literally downsize. They literally shrink themselves. And it's irreversible. I feel like that is going to be a big playmaker in the plot of the movie. Yeah.
This seems like one of those movies where it looks like a very happy-go-lucky type movie, and then all of a sudden it's going to turn dark real fast.
Yeah, I just by watching the trailer the first time, I kind of get the feeling that Matt Damon and Kristen Wiig are their husband and wife, and they're going in to get downsized, and Matt Damon does, and she doesn't.
Oh, that's a good call. It's a good call.
That's the vibe I got from the trailer, but it's really interesting. This is a really interesting concept to be physically shrunk, and how much would that save the planet and save your personal finances, and what I mean? It seems like a decent idea.
It's an interesting thought. It really is.
But what really put it over the top for me was the normal sized bottle of Absolute being used by small people at the end of the trailer.
Right. Yes. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Interesting. So we'll see. I know we said it looked like it's an interesting concept, and it still seems interesting. I just gotta say, there's gonna be another trailer where the other shoe drops, and you're gonna find out like what is the what's the struggle here? What's the conflict? You're gonna find you gotta find out what that is. So if it is his wife not downsizing or whatever, we're gonna find out what that is before we can make any judgments whether we want to see this or not. And then the last trailer up on our list here is one I'm super excited for, and I didn't realize I was excited for it until I saw it today, and it's called Gotti. It's the story of John Gotti, who is the notorious New York gangster, portrayed by John Travolta, and actually, funny enough, his wife in the movie is actually his wife in real life.
Really?
Yes.
Well, John Travolta's wife in the movie is his wife in real life.
Yeah. However, I said that wrong. That's what I mean.
For some reason in my head, I had it as the woman that's playing John Gotti's wife is actually John Gotti's wife.
Oh no! It's John Travolta's wife playing his wife in the movie. So playing John Gotti's wife in the movie. Yeah. Gotcha. What's her name? Preston is her last name. The hell's her first name? Lori Preston, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, this looks fucking awesome. I was tweeting today all about it, and I was saying how this is going to go right up next to my Goodfellas DVD, next to my Black Mass DVD, next to my American Gangster DVD, next to my Bronx Tale DVD. Like, this is going to be a classic gangster movie, and I'm fucking so excited for it because good gangster movies don't get made enough.
They don't happen often enough. The last one that I can think of was Black Mass. I didn't see that one, but before that, the only one I can think of is The Departed, which was knock your socks off, fucking amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I put that on that list too. Departed is fucking amazing. One of my favorite movies.
I'm 100% going to see Gotti with my dad.
Oh man, you got to. I think my dad would be into that too. Yeah. Oh, you got to go see it with Leo.
Yeah.
It looks fucking awesome.
And I don't know a whole. Obviously, it's based on a true story. I'm sure some parts will be exaggerated for the sake of the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know a whole lot about his rise to power, and I know he's in prison.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested to see it dramatized. And John Travolta looks the part. This movie was on my radar like a few years ago, and it totally fell off. So when I saw you posted that trailer came out, I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's happening.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm pumped to see it.
I'm only familiar with John Gotti through Reputation and through Growing Up Gotti, their reality show that used to be on whatever the fuck channel it was. Dude, that fucking show was the fucking weirdest fucking shit ever. This is going to be totally different, obviously, for obvious reasons. But it looks fucking awesome. It looks really good. I'm super excited for it. John Travolta making a comeback. Love it.
I needed to come back.
Oh, yeah. Let's get into movie news. First up on movie news. Wait. Do we even address this? Sean is not with us today.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, everybody. Sean is joining us today.
Sorry, Sean. We didn't give you your due. Sean's just not being super quiet over here. He's not with us today. He had to bow out this episode. But the way we do the new intro, kind of just like we just kind of like skipped right on by. So sorry, Sean. Sean's not here with us, but he's with us in spirit. But anyway, the reason why I thought of that was this first addition to movie news came out sometime last week, like later last week. Yeah. But this is perfect for. It came
out like a day or two after our podcast went live.
Yeah, which sucks because then we got to wait a whole week to talk about it. But I think we still got a lot of good things to say about it. So, Linda Hamilton, aka Sarah Connor, aka the baddest,
Sarah Connor,
one of the baddest bitches in movies, right? I mean, Sarah Connor. Didn't we have an episode where we talked about bad bitches in Hollywood and Sarah Connor was like number one for all of us?
Oh yeah, she was up there. It was like her and Ripley were up there.
Yeah. So Linda Hamilton is coming back. She's reprising her role as Sarah Connor for the next Terminator, which is technically 6. But Arnold Schwarzenegger confirms that it will not have anything to do with anything that happens in Genesis, which makes sense because I haven't seen Genesis, but from what you've told me and from what I've read online, the Genesis storyline kind of goes askew a little bit. Would have to change things.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah, I just for some reason I just haven't gotten a chance to watch it. I mean, I'm assuming once it comes out on Netflix or whatever, if it's not already there, I'll just like pick it up and watch it one day. I never got around to seeing it in theaters, and then it just got away from me.
Yeah, Jen and I went on a whim. We were like, what do you want to do tonight? You want to go to the movies? What's in theaters? You want to see Terminator? All right. So we went and saw it. It was an easy sell.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna turn that down.
Yeah.
But so are they gonna? From what I heard, they're gonna ignore the Salvation one too. I like Terminator Salvation. It's so unfortunate that couldn't be worked out more. Where we could have gotten more of Christian Bale as John Connor.
Yeah, he only said in the and I think it was Entertainment Weekly. Entertainment Weekly said that Arnold said that it wasn't going to abide by the things that happened in Genesis. But I think he also means probably Salvation as well, because he's in Salvation, but he only shows up for it's like not even a cameo. It's like his face digitally put over one of the Terminators, right? Or am I making that up? You're right, it is, right? He's in there.
You're exactly right.
So I think that he probably didn't. Honestly, if I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger, he probably doesn't even remember doing that, right? Or him being in that movie. So it makes sense.
He was the governor of California when that movie came out.
Yeah, so he was probably doing a little. That's fucking crazy. He was probably doing a little. Some
life.
Yeah, I remember Adam. You were with me when we saw that in theaters, right?
Yeah.
Right. That fucking story is great. When
somebody in the back was like, it's him.
That was unbelievable. That was top. No, that's the number one moment in a movie theater that I've ever experienced. It is him or whatever. It's him. It's him. It's the Terminator. It's Arnold. So that was cool. So I got to assume it's probably just going to pick up from. I mean, probably after 2. I don't know, 3. Like I probably dabble a little bit in what happens in 3. But I mean, obviously Sarah Connor. I don't know. But. Linda Hamilton's back. That's all that matters. James Cameron is producing it, and then we have, is it Tim Miller directing it?
Tim Miller, director of Deadpool.
Fucking awesome. I'm all on board. I'm all fucking on board.
All signs pointing to go as of right now.
Absolutely. So, fucking excited. Super excited that Arnold is also coming back. To be honest, I've fucking loved Arnold in all the movies he's been in since like post political career.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still got it, man. He's still got it.
You know why? Because he knows what he's good at.
Yeah.
He doesn't test his bounds. He's like, listen, I'm going to have a couple of cheesy one-liners and be a tough guy.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Absolutely.
That's his range. And he sticks with it.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever seen that Bill Burr stand-up where he talks about Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
This guy has just been kicking ass for 40 years. Like, now it's going on 40 years.
Yeah.
Like, he was in the Australian military, decided he wanted to be a bodybuilder, became a world champion bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Can barely speak English, decides he wants to be an actor, becomes an actor, and has some of the biggest hits of the 90s.
Yeah.
Decides he wants to marry a Kennedy, goes out and marries a Kennedy. Decides he wants to be the governor of California, and he becomes the governor of California.
Yeah.
And now he's back to making hits.
Yeah, what
a life.
He's been on a hot streak for 40 plus years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like,
I think Bill Burr said he's been in the zone for 40.
Yeah, that's right. He's been in the zone is the word he used. That's fucking hilarious. Oh my god, Bill, that stand-up is great. The best is like he wanted to marry a Kennedy. Nah, you can't marry a Kennedy, and he married a Kennedy. That's great. So excited Linda Hamilton to be back. But like we were just saying too, Tim Miller directing is awesome. James Cameron overseeing it is awesome. Although I don't know how he has fucking time in between doing his 20 Avatar movies or whatever the fuck it's gonna be.
Yeah, we didn't add that in movie news, but I thought I saw somewhere online, also bullet point for movie news, that they're starting filming soon and with like a $1 billion budget or something.
That's fucking outrageous. So are they doing like a Hobbit in a like platform where they're filming all 3 at once and then releasing them?
That would be my guess.
Right.
But I don't know.
It would make sense. I mean, because a lot of these movies are CG, so why not fucking roll into the next movie, into the next movie, into the next movie? I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, it's way more CG than actual actors on screen.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's not even just like, I mean, that you have to, because these fucking blue people that are like motion capture suits, like there's really no other way to do that. It's crazy. It's like the technology is wild. All right, let's move on to the next thing here. So happy 30th birthday to The Princess Bride. Came out in 1987 this week sometime. That's awesome. You've seen The Princess Bride, Adam? Have you?
I actually never have.
You never had, but you know this. You know it's a book. You know what the movie's kind of about. You know Andre the Giant's in the movie and whatnot.
I know Andre the Giant's in the movie.
Okay, well you have to see it. This is a classic. I'm gonna read 5 quick facts. Hopefully, none are spoilers. But most of them honestly are about Andre the Giant. So when asked about his favorite thing about making this film, what making this film was, Andre the Giant replied without skipping a beat, "Nobody looks at me." He felt treated as an equal without people staring at him because of his grand height. And there's actually a little fun fact to put in there. So Liam Neeson originally auditioned to play Andre the Giant's role in Princess Bride. Yeah. So obviously, Liam Neeson's a big guy, and the director Rob Reiner, he scoffed at Neeson when he auditioned because he was, and I quote, only 6'4", because obviously he was looking for someone fucking. Because in the book, Fezzik, who is Andre the Giant's character, he's a giant. So obviously, why not pick Andre the Giant for that role? So
Yeah.
During the filming of some scenes, the weather became remarkably cold for Robin Wright, who we know from a ton of things, but she was in Wonder Woman. She was also the Princess Bride in Princess Bride.
Big time comeback, and she's going to be in Blade Runner.
Yes.
The next one.
That's right. Andre the Giant helped her, she was cold, helped her by placing one of his hands over her head. Her hands were so large, his hands were so large that entirely covered the top of her head, keeping her warm. It's not fucking wild. And this reminds me of that famous picture that Andre the Giant has. He's in a bar and he's holding a beer can, and the beer can is dwarfed by his hand. Like it's inside of his palm.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah. Another little fun. Again, this is mostly Andre the Giant, most of the Andre the Giant stuff. So Rob Reiner recorded all of Andre the Giant's scenes on tape. And Rob did all of Andre's lines on the tape. Like, he actually recorded his lines. And then during rehearsals, he would just put headphones and a tape player on Andre the Giant's head and just play the lines back and back so he would remember them. And then he would just say them. Like, because they didn't, trust him. Basically, I don't know if they didn't trust him. I don't want to, diss Andre here. But they didn't want him, to read. They just wanted him to hear it and, hear what it would sound like and then just have him loop it back.
Oh, okay, I see.
Fun little thing. And then a last little thing. Uma Thurman originally auditioned and almost got the part for Princess Buttercup, which is, Robin Wright's part. But she was deemed too exotic looking for the part of Princess Buttercup. I guess they were kind of looking for a very white bread princess look, and I guess Uma Thurman didn't have that, which I can agree with. I guess she's pretty exotic looking.
Exotic.
So yeah, happy 30th birthday to Princess Bride. Adam, you gotta watch it. You gotta. I'm pretty sure that I have it. I'm pretty sure I got it. So
I'll have to borrow it for you next time I'm home.
And speaking of We Own the Night, I still have your copy of We Own the Night.
You do?
I do. Yeah. Why are you looking for it?
I went on a rampage looking for it about 2 weeks ago. I was I turned my apartment inside out. I called my mom and a friend to see if it was at home. I'm so glad you have it.
Yeah, I have it. You gave it to me to watch. I still haven't watched it yet, but I do have it. I just want to let you know.
Okay. Well, no, you can hold on to it until you watch it. I'm just glad I know where it is now.
Yeah, it's here. It's safe. It's very safe.
Okay, good.
So, another big news movie we saw, Sean, Adam, and I, we saw a couple weeks ago. It's getting part 2 or chapter 2. September 2019. That's approximately 709 days away. Never, ever have I meant this more. Get the fucking freeze chamber because I want to see this.
Chamber. Put it on the list.
Yeah. It's even too long. It's because they're probably it's 2 years from now. They're probably still a year out from now, maybe 8 months from shooting this part 2, right? Would you say?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would assume maybe 4 months to shoot.
Probably shoot it this summer.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's probably a good guess. But I'm fucking so excited. The lead up is going to be great because not only are we going to get clues for maybe the second half, what it's going to be like, but we're going to start getting casting calls for all of the Losers Club Part 2. Now, we already gave our picks. If Hollywood had any brains in their head, they would have listened to us. But
that's right.
If they didn't and they start picking other characters, it's going to be really cool to see this, and it's going to be interesting to see if they start picking, just random actors that maybe are not super famous, or if they actually start going along the lines of what we said and picking
right.
Jack Black.
I'm wondering if they pick if they get big names for most of the parts.
Yeah, I wouldn't. The thing here is. I guess it's all going to depend on aesthetic, because if they want to keep it relatively unknown, like they did with the young child actors, but child actors coming up are relatively unknown, but it's just going to be an aesthetic pick because they know the movie's going to make money now. They know what part 1 made, so they know they can afford to pay the actors. So it's up to them whether they actually want to pay these big name actors or if they want to go with a bunch of no names. So that's what it comes down to. So I don't know, and it's you got to ask yourself this question. It's if you saw, say, Bradley Cooper does get picked to play one of the older Loser Club members, right?
Yep. Does that take away from some of the other Loser Club members?
Exactly. Does it take away from them? Also, do you picture Bradley Cooper in The Hangover when you see him there? Do you not feel as scared? You know what I mean? Do you not feel as scared for Bradley Cooper? That's the kind of stuff they have to like think of.
So you're thinking they might go the road of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie where they get like one or two people that you've seen in a couple of things and the rest are relatively unknown.
I think so.
The money is built in, and like it'll be exciting if they get somebody like Bradley Cooper and Jessica Chastain, but I'm paying the money to see Bill Skarsgård.
Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Sure. I mean, the whole thing too is you want it to feel real. You don't want it to seem like the Expendables movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you want to throw in and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people like vying to get this, these roles. And I'm sure there's some actors out there that they can pick and choose, you know what I mean? Like that are like coming up actors that are good. Like we know them from a few different things, but maybe they'll be like perfect for this role, like that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, it's a tough age, like 30, like late 30s to 40s. It's like either you're an established actor or you're literally getting plucked out of obscurity. How many like?
Out of commercials.
Yeah. How many 40-year-old actors just come out of nowhere and like light up the scene? You know what I mean? So that's another thing. So.
I've got the book to hold me over. I haven't actually started it yet. I'm looking forward to it. I'm smack dab in the middle of another Harry Hole novel.
Cool.
So once I finish that, I'm gonna put all my efforts into reading it.
Nice, excellent. It's tough. I'm in a couple weeks. I'm going shooting down to Florida for a weekend. Just me and my dad, just hang out. And I got like a whole stack of comic books and actual books that I plan on reading while I'm down there. Like I'm gonna put on a fucking clinic. It's gonna be like motherfucking reading Rainbow down in Siesta Key, Florida. I'm gonna fucking destroy these books. I got 2 Star Wars books I want to. Well, one I've read one already. I started another one. I got to finish that, and I got another one I want to read. And then I got probably a backlog of like 5 big comic books, like the not a compendium, but like the thick books that are like
not like the novel volumes.
Yes. So I got like 5 of those that I need to read, and then I got a fucking bunch of loose comics that I want to read, plus a couple others if I get really ambitious. So I got a lot to do. So and I eventually want to read it as well. So hopefully I have 2 years. I have 2 years to read it. So
there's plenty of time.
Yeah, plenty of time. You wanna grab on these last 2?
I'll do these last 2. I caught these right before we signed on, so I figured I'd throw them on here. So it is Leo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese are reuniting for a Teddy Roosevelt movie. I'm interested in that. I read a book recently called The Black Hand, where oddly enough was supposed to be Leo's next movie. And actually, Teddy Roosevelt is in it as he plays a mentor of sorts to the main character. While he was the police commissioner of New York City.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see about a little bit about this guy's life. I'm not an aficionado on Teddy Roosevelt by any means, but the little bit that I do know is that he was a pretty badass dude. So it'd be cool to see that in theaters.
I'm very interested in that.
It's Leo and Scorsese. Like, it's not going to be bad. It's going to be awesome.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a big Scorsese guy. I'm a big Leo guy. So always interested in what they're doing next. So that's awesome. Yeah.
And finally, I know you'll be excited about this one. A new script for the Flashpoint movie is finished and has been handed in to Warner Brothers in DC. So hopefully the next piece of news we'll get is for a director.
Right. It seems like, I think what happened here is that people got a little too excited too quickly for the standalone Flash movie. They, like, when we were talking about this like a year ago, they had already secured Ezra Miller to be Barry Allen, right, as the Flash. Yep. So then from there, shit gets out of control. It's like we got to hire someone to write a Flash movie. And they're not ready to shoot that Flash movie yet. There's too many other things that are happening. You got Batman v Superman came out. You have Wonder Woman just came out. You have Suicide Squad in between there. So there's a lot of things going on, but now I think this is the right timetable for a 2020 Flash movie. You got the script written. Next, they're gonna find the director. I'm sure shit's gonna change from there. But as long as they're confident and that they're doing a Flashpoint Flash movie, and that Ezra Miller is gonna be the Flash, they're gonna continue on with this DCEU they've created. I'm excited. I think this was the right time to start getting excited for the Flash. I think we jumped on a little too early. Honestly, I think everybody jumped on too early.
Yeah, exactly. When they announced like fucking 10 DC Comics movies all at once, and everybody got rock hard for them, you and I most. Yeah. And so I think you're exactly right. So the hype train got going a little too fast. I'm psyched for the Flashpoint movie. I have a feeling that the Flashpoint movie it'll come out in between Justice League's parts 1 and 2 and sort of serve as that team up buffer as Civil War did for the Marvel universe.
I completely agree with you. I think that'll be good. I think the Flashpoint movie is going to hold, like, the Wonder Woman movie was great, and the next Wonder Woman movie is also going to be great. But I think those plots are going to have less to do with what's going on as a whole in the DCEU. But I think
absolutely.
But I think the Flash is going to be like, it's going to be very heavy with plot information that needs to be, like, that's going to happen. That's going to change everything that's happening in the DCEU. So
right, that's carry forward and into the whole universe.
Yeah, I mean, the Wonder Woman movies, like, essentially, like, so far, they're like kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Like, they're, right. It happened in the past. It's already happened. It's not really affecting anything that's going on with the Justice League besides you're getting Wonder Woman out of it. So
right, and isn't the second Wonder Woman movie supposed to be like the Cold War?
Yeah,
so
you're not even
that won't take place.
Yeah,
that won't affect Batman v Superman or Justice League.
Nope. So I like that. I think Wonder Woman was great because of that, and I think that they'll strike gold again with that. So awesome. Very excited for the Flash. Let's move on to our next segment. So on Twitter yesterday, I put up a simple poll. I wanted to talk trilogies because I happened to, for some reason, I was thinking about trilogies, my favorite trilogies. I wanted to talk about trilogies, so I put up a poll, and I had people pick between 4 trilogies. I didn't say pick your favorite. I just said pick a trilogy, right? I did Lord of the Rings, I did the original Star Wars trilogy, I did Back to the Future, and I did, what was the 4th one? Shit.
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight, that's right. The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan Batman movies. So, the winner was Star Wars, which was unsurprising, but we had someone come in our mentions telling me that was unfair to put Star Wars in there because it does not count as a trilogy because there are currently 7 movies in that universe.
Right. Well, I mean, if you consider that, is Lord of the Rings a trilogy?
Right, because you have the Hobbit movies, right? Exactly. That's my point I'm making here. So his name is I_Nesbot. He tweeted at us, and not hatefully, but he was like, it doesn't count as a trilogy. I'm like, it absolutely does. What?
We appreciate the feedback, I know.
Oh yeah, no, we love the feedback. We love the feedback. But here's my stance on this. It absolutely counts as a trilogy, just like the prequels are a trilogy. Just like when Episode 9 comes out, the one J.J. Abrams is directing, is going from 7, 8, and 9. That's going to be a trilogy as well. There's a story arc within this bigger universe that counts it as a trilogy. It's meant to be the saga as a whole. You have the saga as a whole, and you have the trilogy that's broken down into it, right? So you agree with me?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm glad.
I agree with you in the Star Wars front, and I can very easily separate Lord of the Rings from The Hobbit.
Yeah.
I consider them both trilogies, but part of the same saga.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're all very different movies, and I know it's not fair to split them up just because of when they were made, right? But they're just like the story is very succinct. You have the story of Luke Skywalker. That's the original Star Wars trilogy. It's the hero's journey. It's Luke's journey, right?
Yep.
You have that. It's done. We're on Rey's journey now. This is Rey's journey. This is Rey's journey.
And in the prequels were Anakin's.
Exactly. Thank you. There's three different trilogies here. 3 different stories being told. They all interlink, sure. You know, I mean, even Rogue One obviously, you know, interconnects with these movies. But
I think Rogue One is a good example of why they should be considered as trilogies, because Rogue One is a one-off. But it relates. You know what I mean? It stands on its own.
Yes.
But it relates, it connects the two.
Yeah. And they're very, I mean, there's a reason why there's not like, I mean, there's a reason why 7 and 8 weren't made. Instead, you know what I mean? Like why they just didn't say, okay, we're doing Star Wars episodes 7 and 8. No, they had this laid out. Episodes 7, 8, and 9 were coming out. They already knew that. They know that these stories are good. I mean, now modern Hollywood loves trilogies, but when Star Wars was done, starting back in '77, they knew that this 3-movie arc was a good way to tell these stories. George Lucas knew that. So I just think it's not. Basically, I think the kid was trying to say, Ian, I believe his name was. Ian was trying to say that it's outdated to call Star Wars a trilogy because there's essentially 9 movies now. But I don't find that the case. And I'm curious to see what Sean would say. So Sean, I know you're listening to this because you listen to all of our shows. I'm curious to see what Sean has to say, so we'll talk about that next week. But, so that's what I had to talk about trilogies. But another trilogy that I put on that list that I mentioned was Back to the Future. Yep. Back to the Future trilogy. One of my all-time favorite, series of movies. I love these 3 movies. Someone, mad_4_movies, came out the woodwork saying that it fell off after number 1. Which I have a huge problem with because there's an argument to be made that number 2 is the strongest movie in that trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen the 3 of those once, and I watched them all on the same day.
Nice.
It was exhausting.
That's a good way to watch it. That's a good way to watch it, though.
To be honest with you, I don't think I have a good enough appreciation for the 3rd one, just because I was so mentally exhausted. Like those movies gave me anxiety. I'm thinking like, oh my God, how's Marty gonna get Back to the Future? I don't know. I have no idea how this is gonna happen. There's too much going wrong. Which I think is a hallmark of a good movie. Like I know that everything is gonna work out fine, but I was still like leading up until, for example, in the first one, like I didn't think Marty was gonna make it. I didn't know he was gonna hit 88 miles an hour. Driving through Main Street or whatever it was to go back to the future.
Yeah, it's all very nerve-wracking. It's the first movie that I was introduced to that you had to deal with the thought of time travel, or obviously I think I've probably seen Terminator before I saw Back to the Future, so I do get time travel in a bit, but Back to the Future, you really have to think through where they're going and why they're going there, and why they did this and why it changes it over here, and in this timeline, blah blah blah. But number 2, so we have a voicemail from our buddy Andre over at Backseat Directors. I'm gonna play that right now, and he's gonna make a lot of the points that I'm also gonna agree with, but we'll go from there. So let's play Andre's voicemail.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Andre from the Backseat Directors podcast. So I'm calling in because someone said this morning on Twitter that Back to the Future 2 was not a good movie, and I am here to just tell everyone why Back to the Future is a good movie. Not just a good movie, but a great movie. Maybe it's not as good as the first, but it is still a fantastic movie. And let me just list off a few things. I'll start with how about some things that the movie actually predicted, like years and years in advance? I think the movie came out in 1989 or something like that. Well, they predicted that the Cubs would win the World Series, and they did. Maybe just 2 years too soon, but hey, they still predicted it. How about 3D movies? How about wireless video, like Skype and things like that. Do you see that stuff in 1989 where people are talking to each other on TVs? You'd never think that was going to happen, and look, here we are now. Dude, how about the self-lacing Nikes, man? That stuff is real. This stuff is real. And let's with that, we don't even have to discuss the hoverboard, man. This movie is so iconic. It is such a fun movie. One of my favorites as a kid. You loved everything about it. it's very rewatchable. And the person who said that it's not good, I'm sorry, man. I'm usually an advocate on everybody's opinion is their own, but you are wrong. This is a great movie. All right, guys, keep up the great work, and I'll talk to you guys later.
First off, Andre, thank you for calling in. It's always good to hear from you, man. So, right, I mean, a lot of the stuff we're gonna agree with here.
Yeah, Andre nailed it. Actually, I think to build off of seeing the future in 1989 or whenever it came out, I think the self-lacing Nikes, I think that's a thing because of the movie.
You took the words right out of my mouth, man. I agree. I think that we wanted those Nike lacing shoes. Like, whether or not those are going to be a thing, they're a thing now because of that movie.
Exactly.
So you have both things that the movie predicted, you know, and they did a good job of like kind of predicted where the future was going to be to an extent. I think fashion still hasn't caught up to Back to the Future 2 yet, although I wish it would, because there's a lot of denim and there's a lot of like metal things people are wearing, and I really like that combination of things. But
soon enough.
But you're right. There's like things like the hoverboard obviously is something that not exactly created now. They have this thing called the hoverboard. It's not a hoverboard.
Yeah, what about the one like everybody was breaking their tailbones on like last year or something? Yeah. What was that called?
That was called those were called hoverboards or whatever the fuck they were called. I don't think the brand was hoverboard, but people were calling them hoverboards. But yeah,
pretty
like,
close.
Yeah, I mean, not bad. I mean, it's still like one of those pieces of like travel tech. Like, there's a ton of that stuff now. Electric skateboards, you see, like it might not be floating, but you have that.
I was walking to work. I've seen this guy a handful of times on my way walking to work. And like I thought I was in Back to the Future when I saw it. He was like, it was one wheel, but it wasn't a unicycle.
Yes.
It was one wheel, and he was standing on it and just sort of like leaning forward. It was basically a Segway,
right?
With one wheel that goes in between your legs, and you lean, and there's no handlebars. Like, what the fuck is this thing? That is terrifying. I'm afraid to ride a bicycle in the city. I'm afraid to walk.
Yeah.
In the city, let alone ride one of those contraptions.
Yeah, those things are cool. I've seen those before. It's basically like a Segway with one wheel and no handlebars. It looks terrifying. I've seen ones too where it looks like a skateboard and there's one giant wheel in the middle and it like comes. They're wild stuff. But anyway, it's like Back to the Future 2, very iconic. How many times have you seen Marty McFly Halloween costumes with that like super crazy looking hat, right? And the vest, the puffy vest.
Yep.
That's iconic. That's a Halloween costume from Back to the Future 2. It's the most iconic movie in that trilogy. Easily.
Yes. Two absolutely is.
Easily. There's so many things that were pulled from that. Like you said, even like the Nike Mags, the self-lacing shoes, like we said, they were made because they were awesome in that movie and people wanted them in real life. But now Nike makes legitimate running shoes with the self-lacing feature. They're not fancy like the Nike Mags, but you can buy a pair of these self-lacing shoes for like $120 for a pair of Jordans. You can buy these self-lacing shoes, and they know your foot. You step into them, it tightens down to what your tightness is for your feet. Isn't that fucking awesome? Is that not fucking awesome? I mean, and that shit that came from Back to the Future. That's stuff that came from Back to the Future. So, Back to the Future 2, great movie. I'm sorry, Mad for Movies. I appreciate your opinion. I appreciate you interacting with us. But like Andre said, you're wrong. Back to the Future 2 is a great movie. I'm sorry. I have to say it. It's a great movie. And it's the best in that trilogy. All right.
Getting too hot there.
I'm getting a little hot.
Don't you dare act mad about Back to the Future.
I'm sorry. I'm going to keep going for a minute. I really hold Back to the Future near and dear to my heart for a couple of reasons. Number one, like I said, like this is my first introduction to like time travel, and obviously we're both huge sci-fi nuts. This was kind of my introduction to it. I mean, I love Star Wars. I watched Star Wars a ton when I was a kid, but Star Wars didn't have elements in it that Back to the Future has as far as sci-fi goes. It fills in the gaps. Like, sure, there's space battles and there's spaceships and lightsabers and the Force and shit like that. Like really stereotypical sci-fi stuff, right? We'd consider, but they didn't have time travel and on all the ramifications that comes with the theory of time travel. So and it was just one of those movies too. Like it stands the test of time. It looks great. It never like is cheesy, like even though you know that the CGI has gotten better, practical effects have gotten way better, it just stands the test of time, and it's like really near and dear to my heart. So nobody
You
fucking.
mentioned earlier how Terminator is deals with time travel, but it doesn't go as in depth as the Back to the Future movies do. In the original Terminator, you see the Terminator appear, and you see Kyle Reese appear out of these energy orbs, and you get one or two flashbacks.
Yes.
Into flashbacks or flash forwards, technically.
Yeah, flash forwards.
Into the future where Kyle Reese is living in a world where machines have taken over. But that's it.
Yeah.
In Back to the Future, like most of the movie, each movie is set in a different time period than where it starts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the conflict is returning, where in Terminator the conflict is avoiding the future that they came from.
Yes. Yep. That's very true. It's a very different. The structure of the movies are very different. Yeah, and obviously the tone is very different of the two movies. The two series. Very tonally very, very different. I just think it's great. It's just it's funny. It's thought provoking. The acting's pretty good. Oh God, why can't I think of his name? Michael J. Fox, fucking classic actor. Fucking Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, awesome all around. Fucking love Back to the Future. I think, is it still on Netflix?
I do not know.
I think I have the trilogy, but I remember the last time I checked, all three of them were on Netflix, which is just so awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's get into what we're watching. Adam, what are you watching?
So to build off of Back to the Future, I know I had said a few weeks ago that I had stumbled upon a few episodes of Rick and Morty when my girlfriend's brother and his friends were crashing at my apartment. They were watching it, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. So last week, this past week, I finished season 1. Oh my God, I was like, I'm giggling on my couch like a little girl. This movie is so funny. This show is so funny. The part that gets me is it's ridiculous, and I feel like they animate it after the scripts and the voiceovers are done, and that's what really makes it for me when Morty and Rick just sort of trail off and drone on about what they're talking about. I feel like that's not scripted, and to add animation on top of it, that really makes it for me. My favorite scene in season 1 was the Ants in My Ice Johnson commercial. I still watch it every day. I think it's hysterical. It's so ridiculous. It's so random. I love it.
That's a great scene. That's a great movie. That's a great show. It's really awesome.
Yeah, so I'll probably kill season 2 on Saturday when my girlfriend is at work for the day.
Sweet.
Because she does not enjoy it.
Yes. Wendy does not either.
On her side, she is a big Will and Grace fan, and I'd be a liar if I said I didn't enjoy the show when it was on in the 90s. Watched it a handful of times with my parents in early 2000s, I think, too.
Yeah.
So we rewatched a few of the older episodes, and that show is really funny. Talk about a show that came out before its time. Late 90s, early 2000s, there wasn't really a lot of homosexuality in television.
No.
Not that I remember, at least. And, a show before its time, if this show had came out, it's going to come out again, they're relaunching it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge hit. Because it's one of those shows that will just I feel like it'll resonate and connect with audiences more now.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, a show before its time, and now it's going to come back in the time it probably was meant to be made in or shown in. So, yeah, I loved Will and Grace back in the day. I used to watch it all the time. Thought it was hilarious. I'm sure a lot of the jokes went over my head.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but still it was funny. And I thought that it's actually...
That's good. That's good. That makes me want to rewatch some of the older ones more just to see, shit that I might have missed when I was a kid.
Where are you guys watching Will and Grace? What is it on?
It's on Hulu.
Oh, sweet. All right, I'm going to check that out. I'm gonna rewatch some episodes. Who's what is her name? The one with like a really high pitched voice.
Oh, she's married to Ron Swanson.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's I was gonna make the point.
Megan Mullany,
yes,
something like that.
Yes, Megan Mullany. Yeah. Her name's Karen, right?
Hysterical. Yeah.
Great show. Very excited.
I also saw Kingsman 2 on Friday in theaters. Loved it. I thought it was great. The music was awesome. The action was ridiculous. Shot the same way. It's just it really built nicely off of the second one. I will say that I was not that I was expecting more. I was expecting it to be I guess full throttle the whole time. Because maybe that's not the right choice of words. It goes back into the original, into the first one. You know what I mean? So they're still dealing with things that happen in characters from the original, and I feel like that holds it back a tad. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it. I really enjoyed the movie, and it just it makes me excited to see a third one if it comes out.
Oh, is that a tease?
I think it's a pretty clear tease.
Yeah.
When you see it, you'll get it too.
Okay.
I will say this: not enough Channing Tatum.
Okay, I was gonna ask how was Channing Tatum. So not enough of him. Okay.
Not enough of him. Needed more.
Room for a
Pedro
return.
Pascal was good.
Okay.
Eggsy, that actor Taron Egerton oozes charisma.
Yeah.
He needs more parts.
I was reading today. They were talking about him in Kingsman 2, how good he was, and he was saying they touched on how he was really close to being Han Solo in the Han Solo movie.
Yeah, that would have been that's who I wanted it to be.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, absolutely.
I imagine one day if he becomes James Bond, I could see him being Bond.
Definitely,
sure.
I could see him being Bond. Is he British? Right, he must be.
Yeah.
He's a good actor, so he must be British. Honestly, fuck.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
So you got to check that one out. Let me know what you think. I'd like to see if you see what I mean when I say that it's held back a tad.
Okay, yeah, I'm excited to see it. I adored the first one, so I'm super excited for that too. So
what are you watching?
I'm watching a few things. So actually, Lindy and I, before I came down for the podcast, we were watching Gaga 5'2". It's the
I was gonna suggest that for Movie Club. How was it?
Well, I didn't get through all of it. Actually, I gotta watch the rest of it. But it looks really cool. I love documentaries like this. It's very raw. It's like one person following her around with a camera, and it's like,
oh yeah, I love those.
Yeah, it's like told over the course of like she's recording her newest album, and she like finds out that, or it's like around the time when she's finding out if she's gonna get the Super Bowl halftime show or not. Okay.
Yeah. And obviously she crushed it for the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah, so obviously she got it and she crushed it. Yeah. So it was cool. So I just was watching that. Didn't finish yet though. I'm excited to get back to it. Tip, she goes topless in it. So if that helps anybody out to watch it for that.
Whoa,
reason.
hey now.
Boobies out.
For our male demographic.
I also watched another documentary on Hulu called Dumb. And it's the story of Big Brother magazine. So, are you familiar with Big Brother magazine back in the day?
That was that's about the magazine that inspired Jackass.
Yeah, so a lot of the guys that created the MTV show Jackass came from Big Brother magazine. It originally went out to like compete with Thrasher skateboarding magazine, and then what was the other one? Transworld, which I do remember because I used to get that to my house. Transworld's skateboarding.
Yeah,
magazine.
I remember Transworld.
So it was created by Jeff Tremaine, who now he's the creator of Gorilla Flicks, which is his like film company where he created all the Jackass movies underneath, and like Dick House and shit like that. But he started it. He started it, and then he got a bunch of writers to come on board, all these like sick fuck skateboarders that were all like just like fucking doing drugs and shit. And then eventually like Chris Pontius came on and like would travel with them and do like videos and write articles. And then they found Johnny Knoxville, and then they found Steve-O, and then they found all these other fucking crazy people. And along the way, they're like doing these videos in different cities across America and putting them out They're like one-word titles. Like, so that's what they call this one, dumb. Like, the other ones were like one-word, like simple title videos. And like along the way, they meet like Bam Margera, and they like as a young kid, like a really young kid. So it was really cool. So it was cool to see that, and like all like the kids that, kids then, adults in the Jackass show. So it was cool to see like where they got their start from, and like how fucking like cool Jeff Tremaine was, like to pull himself up by his bootstraps and like create this magazine, and then he left right like Larry Flint, the owner of Hustler, bought it.
Yep.
It's all out there. I mean, this is no spoilers.
It's on Netflix?
It's on Hulu.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I've seen a couple of commercials for it.
It's only an hour and 15 minutes.
Beautiful.
It's a Jeff Tremaine joint. It's fucking done beautifully. A documentary done beautifully. Like, I love all the footage they have from back then. It's great. So really cool. And if you're a fan of Jackass movies like I am, you will see a lot of familiar faces. So that was cool. I also finished Westworld. I forget if I talked about this last week or not.
You didn't finish it last week.
Westworld is now done. Now I just can't wait for fucking Westworld to come back. God damn it!
Right? Don't spoil it too much. Jen's listening.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not gonna say anything. I will not say anything because I know that Sean is also listening, who hasn't finished it all the way through. So,
that show goes off the rails after 6.
Yeah, it really does.
Like twist after twist after it's insane.
Yeah, it's one of the most fascinating shows that I've seen in a while, and it just, I don't know, it just gets me. It's like it has all the things I want in like a TV show, like as far as for like my tastes. It's like sci-fi.
Right? It's got sci-fi. It's got that futuristic stuff that we like so much, and then boom, West.
I know exactly.
Wild West gunslingers.
Yeah, to top it all off, it's a Western show, so it's like fuck yeah, absolutely. And Anthony Hopkins. Yeah. What'd you say?
To put some icing on the cake.
Yeah, dude, Anthony Hopkins is so different in Westworld than he is in the new Transformers movie. It's hilarious. It's like he's not even trying in the new Transformers movie. Not saying he did a bad job. I'm just saying that like he's just like a fucking lunatic in the Transformers movie. It's hilarious. You haven't seen it, but you got to watch it. It's so funny. He's a lunatic. He's an absolute lunatic. He's like no other character I've ever seen him play. Like usually he's like very stoic and like very like smooth talking. He's a fucking crazy person in the new Transformers.
A zany character?
Yeah, very zany. Very zany. It's so funny.
I would not expect that.
No, me neither. It's just so weird. They probably like got him and they were like, listen, man, like however you want to make this character, you make the character. So that, and then I just finished this afternoon when I got home from work, the Jerry Before Seinfeld special on Netflix.
Wow, banner week.
Oh yeah, great week. I fucking been watching a ton of shit. So yeah, Jerry Before Seinfeld. It's a comedy special done on Netflix. How Netflix has been killing it with comedy specials, like new comedy specials. No other company in the world, no other TV show, not even Comedy Central is putting out more new comedy specials than fucking Netflix. They're killing it. So this is about Jerry Seinfeld. He talks about how he got started in comedy, and it's like a documentary mixed in with an hour-long set of comedy he does at the first comedy club he ever got started at, called the Comic Strip down in New York. So it's cool. So it's like he'll do like 20 minutes they'll cut 20 minutes of a set, and then they'll do like he'll do like a throwback, and there'll be like video from his childhood and shit like that. It's really cool. So check, definitely, if you're a comedy fan, if you're a Seinfeld fan, check that out. That's really cool. So
hey, so something that we need to have on our radar. Have you heard of Channel Zero? It's on Sci-Fi.
No, I haven't heard of that. So
I saw commercials for it last year, and I was interested in it because I heard it was like the new hotness. Yeah. It came out shortly after Stranger Things, and it sort of built up the steam off of Stranger Things, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
And I'm watching SmackDown right now on USA, and USA and Sci-Fi are sister channels. And so I just saw a trailer for season 2 of Channel Zero. I think it's sort of like American Horror Story, like it's a anthology series.
Okay.
I don't know if the same cast across the two of them, but there's only 6 episodes in season 1, so I'm gonna try to watch that this week. I'm gonna put that on my own personal homework because it looks like sort of American Horror Story like.
Oh,
and there's
cool.
only. I feel like we should get in on the ground floor at Channel Zero.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. So let me know how it is. Let me know how it is.
Okay, I will.
All right.
Sean, that goes for you too.
Yeah.
I know you're a big American Horror Story guy.
Yes. I thought Sean was going to leave us a voicemail. I don't know if he did while we were recording, maybe. I don't see it because he asked for the number earlier. But, Sean, you were missed this episode. We're going to go right into filming our movie club episode for this week, but we're going to leave you here. Remember, if there's a 9er in your phone number, you're probably calling from a walkie-talkie. We'll catch you guys next week.
Thanks, y'all.
Later.